Welcome back to Outriders. In this video I want to talk to you guys about damage mitigation because it's currently all over the place and everyone seems to have a different opinion on it, but at the end of the day it is still broken, and that is a guarantee. The reason I say that is because I've seen a lot of comments of people just saying, oh, ever since emergency stance was fixed, players haven't got any damage mitigation on their builds or anything, and it's all because of your builds that you're complete trash, you need to start being more defensive and not just having glass cannon builds, and all this sort of stuff. But damage mitigation is a percentage of damage you can reduce, because mitigation means to reduce the severity of something. And the people are saying it's other players' builds causing them to be one-shot because they don't have damage mitigation mods. But there is supposed to be a mechanic in this game that prevents a one-shot attack. So even if you run 0% damage mitigation, you still should not be one-shot. So the problem isn't that you're being one-shot, although it does feel like that. It's because the enemies are hitting you multiple times and you only ever see one attack. Because they're doing this, it breaks the one-shot prevention mechanic and instantly kills you. So the enemies still need to be looked at, and that's all enemies, because they are still hitting multiple times. The Broodmother was a major case of swiping at you once and actually dealing multiple attacks. But it's every single enemy that has the ability to do that. If you look at the little profiteroles, they are a big culprit. If you look at the cutthroats, the birds, literally almost every single enemy has the ability to do that. I don't think I can't even remember what they're called. At the start of Outriders of Enoch, you've got these little green, I think they're maulers or something. They look like the baby behemoth sort of things. Those ones I don't think actually do one hit. Not entirely sure. It could be all enemies, but if not, it's most enemies. And it's simply because they are hitting you multiple times, breaking that prevention mechanic of you being one-shot, and it looks as though you're being one-shot, because if you do look at the health bars frame by frame, you'll see that people have, basically if they've got 20,000 health, they'll get hit for 5k and then 15k. And that will be consecutive hits, but you'll only see one attack. However, at the same time, it's not just the enemies anymore. The environmental stuff is also killing players very quickly. There's been a couple of clips I've looked at, and I've seen the explosive barrels that are placed around the expedition maps. I've seen them kill players very, very quickly. So it seems as though, in terms of the damage output from the enemies, it's a lot stronger than it should be. It's very inconsistent. I actually looked at a Reddit post and someone took stats from being hit by the baby profiteroles. Sometimes they were hitting for 20% of the player's health. Sometimes a single attack would hit for 70%. So it's just down to the developers for having dodgy coding in their game that is causing enemies to hit multiple times even though you only ever see one attack. That is what's causing this issue. It's nothing to do with being one-shotted. It's because of inconsistencies and also basically bugged coding that allows the enemies to hit multiple times, because I don't think there's anything wrong with the one-shot mechanic, the one that stops you being one-shotted. I think it's because the developers actually stated that some of the enemies are hitting twice consecutively and you only ever see one attack. So I think it's that's causing all of these issues. However, that's going to require more time to look at than what they did just looking at the Broodmothers, and it took them 3 weeks to implement the patch for the Broodmothers. So if they were to focus on all of the enemies, look at all the coding, go back through, we're talking a 6-month fix for PCF. They are so fucking slow at what they do. So yeah, just thought I would just basically share my understanding of it. I'm pretty sure that is how it works. It's nothing to do with builds at all, because I run defensive builds and it still happens to me. It's not just because, and regardless, if you are running, as I said, a 0% mitigation build, you're prone to taking every bit of damage, but there's supposed to be that system in place that stops you being one-shotted, and players still are. So that tells you there are still issues, not even necessarily damage mitigation. There's just issues with the damage output from the enemies. So what we're going to do is leave the video there. Let me know your thoughts and stuff in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed it.